So last week I looked at LA Rush, a somewhat mediocre racing game on the PS2. So for this week, let's crank up that dial to about 666 and review Metal Hellsinger. It's a game that can best be described as Doom mixed with the environment from Diablo with a sprinkling of Guitar Hero. How in the world does that make any sense, I hear you ask? Well, I'll tell you. But first, the story. You play as a demoness named the Unknown, battling her way through 8 different levels, or hells. She is being hunted by a devil known as the Red Judge. The Unknown finds a skull named Paz, who narrates your journey through these hells. Narrated, of course, by Troy Baker, because why not? See, the Judge took the Unknown's voice due to her potentially fulfilling a prophecy, and the Unknown doesn't want to be silent for the rest of eternity. So she sets out with Paz to defeat legions of horrific creatures on her way to confront the Red Judge. So now that the plot is out of the way, let's get back to that Doom / Diablo / Guitar Hero description that I gave about 30 seconds ago. The game is a first-person shooter, which is probably obvious by now. The gun combat is reminiscent of Doom, in which you simply run from room to room and defeat every monster in your way before moving on. The thing is that as you are moving around, you'll see the beats hitting your crosshair. If you can manage to time your strikes to that beat, you increase your fury level, which turns into more damage. This timing is kinda like Guitar Hero, which you are only shooting or slashing when the indicator hits the crosshair. Granted, you can skip the whole beat mechanic, but then you won't build that fury meter, making the game a bit more difficult. Finally, I compare the game to Diablo because, well, you are battling in literal hell. The font and presentation kinda looked like Diablo 3 to me as well. Okay, maybe it was mostly just the font, but I'm sticking to it. So why is the game called Metal Hellsinger? Simply put, the music. The game has a very heavy emphasis on timing your attacks with the drum beats, and the game rewards you when you do well. The stage starts with a simple drum beat, but as you build up your fury, eventually you get the bass line, guitar, and finally, when you hit that max fury at 16x, the vocals kick in. And yes, true to its name, the music is all metal, performed by a band called Two Feathers with assistance of singers well known to the metal community. We have Matt Heafy from Trivium, Lamb of God's Randy Blythe, Serge Tankian from System of a Down, and Tatiana Shmayluk. I could not pronounce that name, but she's from Ginger, among others. Every hell has its own track, and the bosses all have different songs as well. Even if you suck at the rhythm timing, like me, you want to do well to get those vocals to kick in, because holy crap, the adrenaline these songs pumps through you gets you going. I will admit that, after playing the game for just an hour, I went and downloaded all of the songs so that I could listen to them in my car. I seriously cannot stop listening to Dissolution, a song sung by the lead singer of Soilwork. Oh, sorry, I just got into the music since I'm kind of listening to it now and started headbanging while typing up this review. I will admit that while playing the game, it was kind of hard to aim while headbanging. And I will admit that due to the game getting easier only if you can time your attacks perfectly, it may not be for everyone. Or is it? See, the developers did the best thing ever and added in an option in the accessibility menu that allows you to forego the beat mechanic and makes every attack a perfect strike, with the only sacrifice being a lowering of the difficulty because your attacks will almost always do more damage, and the ability to post your level score to the leaderboards. I'd say it's a fair sacrifice. And really, the mood of the game is set right at the title screen. You have the Unknown staring at you with her 3 eyes and a solemn beat in the background. Best of all, the flames dance to the drum beat, and this even happens during gameplay, which is freaking awesome! In addition, the game has a handy tutorial stage which explains the mechanics to you, allowing you to ease in and feel out the rhythm mechanic to determine if you should try it or say screw it and flip that accessibility option. Personally, I made it about halfway through the game before saying F it, I just want to play the game and enjoy the phenomenal metal music. One catch with the music, and this is very minor, is that every song starts with a very similar drum track. I understand why it's done this way though. At 1X, you're just starting and need to build up the intensity of the music. It just bears mentioning. Now, being that you are slaying hellish demons, you must have tools to take them down. There aren't a huge variety of weapons that you'll encounter, but they all work. At first, you get a sword and Paz, which shoots low-powered fireballs. These two weapons are always with you, with one exception being that one of the stages will need to be fought without Paz. In each of the first 4 stages, you get a new firearm: a shotgun, a dual-wielded pistol, a bow that fires explosive bolts, and an odd boomerang claw thing that never needs to reload, but only 2 swipes can be performed before allowing the weapon to return to you. All weapons have infinite ammo, with reloads being the only thing to worry about. In keeping with the timing mentality, you can hit the reload button again when the yellow bars hit the center, reducing the reloading time. Personally, I only found a few weapons to be useful. The sword was great at close range, the pistols were probably the best weapon possible, and the claws were nice if you didn't want to worry about reloads. The Vulcan bow was just too slow and awkward to use, and the shotgun was extremely heavy hitting, but timing shots to the beat felt kinda difficult to me. Each weapon also has a secondary fire, called an ultimate. By using the weapons, you will build up the yellow gauge that is to the right of your life. Once it maxes out, you can unleash the ultimate attack. The claws bring about a whirlwind of daggers to strike anyone near you, the sword flings projectiles at a distance, and my beloved pistols summon a doppelganger that automatically shoots anyone nearby. Each weapon has its own ultimate gauge, so you can build them up individually and use them as needed. One other thing to keep in mind is that only 2 firearms could be brought into a stage with you, so you have your sword, Paz, and any of the other 2 guns to carry out vengeance. Any stage can be completed with any combination, but you should obviously equip weapons that you feel the most comfortable with. So for me, dual pistols all the way. In addition to flat out killing enemies, you'll see them glow red when weakened. When this happens, you can lunge forward and perform a slaughter, not unlike Doom's glory kills. This immediately kills the enemy and unleashes health power-ups. Other than the slaughter kills, the only other way of replenishing life are the green crystals that can be destroyed on the walls. If you are not careful, life will drop rapidly, as hell holds no prisoners. On a standard difficulty, you get to revive 2 times, for a total of 3 lives. Every time you revive, you are penalized 300,000 points, so if you care about score, be mindful of this. Finally, if you lose all of your lives, you are sent back to the beginning of the stage. I personally didn't run into this, but I've gotten close to that predicament a few times. In addition to choosing your weapons, you also have a few sigils that can be equipped, 2 to be exact. These are unlocked by completing the optional challenges, of which there are 3 per stage, accessible after clearing that hell. These challenges range from killing enemies on beat to slaying creatures with your ultimates. Just keep in mind that you do need to equip these, so don't do what I did and unlock almost all of them, but complete the game without equipping a single one. Oops. Now, as enjoyable as Metal Hellsinger is, it isn't perfect. First off, the boss battles are frantic. When you get down to it, they're all mostly identical. The Red Judge attacks you in the form of an aspect, and all look nearly identical, just with different attacks. In addition, the boss battles take a markedly different approach in that you are essentially playing a first-person bullet hell. It can be difficult to dodge these fast-moving shots, and it doesn't take long to get utterly destroyed. Thankfully, every boss arena has life crystals on the wall, and basic enemies are spawned at specific intervals in the battle, allowing you to attempt to take a bit of a breather. Final battle though, holy crap! When I heard Surge singing as you fight the Red Judge, you know it's going to be epic. But that's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to ruin it. The other big problem I have with the game is that it's unforgivably short. At 8 stages plus the tutorial, with each completable in about 15 to 20 minutes, you'll be looking at a game in which the main story can be completed in about 2 to 3 hours. Add in maybe 1 to 2 hours for the challenges, and you have a 4 to 5 hour game. It's not terrible, but man, I wanted more. Since I played the game on PS4 since I was free with PS Plus this month, I didn't get the DLC that's available in the Steam version, but in any case, I wanted a much longer game. Hopefully we get a sequel, since the story is set up for one. Metal Hellsinger is just a breath of fresh air. It's a game that knows what it is and doesn't try to overstep this. You have an arena shooter based in hell, where you time attacks to some of the best musical tracks in a game that I've heard in a very long time. I 100% welcome the ability to skip the timing mechanic, since I was god-awful at it, and I feel the game is much more accessible because of this. If you are a fan of Doom and metal music, Metal Hellsinger is a game you must play. Final score, 6 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.